So we actually don't have. Okay, there we are. Welcome to the meeting of the FCC. It's Thursday, April 27th, a little after 1. This is a hybrid meeting, so I'm going to read the following. As a preliminary matter, this is Ray Pohl, Chairman of the FCC. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Okay, so I'm going to do the Zoom people first. So Diane, members, when I call your names, please respond in the affirmative. Okay, so let's start. Diane Coombs.
Hi.
Hi there, Diane. Thank you. Connie Patton.
Hi.
Very good, Connie. Hi. Stephen Welch live. Thank you. Val Oliver.
Hi.
And Carrie Thornwell.
Hi, here.
Thanks, and I'm Ray Pohl for the record. Staff, when I call your names, please respond in the affirmative. Esme Martinez.
Present.
Thank you. And Holly Backus.
Present.
Very good. Anticipated speakers in the order that we process the applications. Good afternoon. This open meeting of the Nantucket Historic District Commission is being conducted remotely pursuant to Chapter 3 of the Acts 2 of the Acts of 2023. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comment. For this meeting, the Historic District Commission is convening by video conference via the Zoom app as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Excuse me. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that all attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other people are watching you and to take care not to screen share your computer or phone. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All the supporting materials that have been provided to us, the members of this body, are available on the town's website. Unless noted otherwise, the public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless Chair notes otherwise. Before we get to the first item on the agenda, some ground rules. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to comment, questions, motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone and computer when you're not speaking. Remember to speak clearly so that we can generate some good, accurate minutes. And please wait until the chair yields the floor and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in a conversation with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. Finally, each vote taken at today's meeting will be conducted by roll call. That's it. Okay, now with that, I think that we can have a motion from someone to approve today's agenda.
To accept the agenda.
Very good. So thank you, Diane. On that motion, Carrie.
Aye.
Val.
Aye.
Stephen. Diane, on your motion.
Aye.
Very good. And I'm in favor. Motion carries. So now we have an agenda. We have one consent item. Nobody needs to recuse. So why don't we do, by the way, we have a rotation going between Connie, who's on Zoom, and Carrie, who's in the room. That rhymes. So on this one, let's have Connie. This would be the one consent item. Can I have a motion?
So I can't,
You can't do it?
no,
You can't make the motion?
I can't sit on that one, sorry, I just looked at it.
Oh, okay, so then it's Connie and Carrie. Can one of you folks make the motion?
Yes, motion to approve.
All right, there it is. That's from Carrie. On Carrie's motion, Connie.
Aye.
Thank you, Diane.
Aye.
Stephen. All right. Carrie.
Aye.
There we go. And I'm in favor. Consent with conditions, one of them. Are you back on this, Val?
Yes, it was just for Elaine, I helped her, so.
Okay, yeah. All right, so now, Connie, if you could sit on this one. Motion.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Diane. On that motion, Val.
Aye.
Stephen. All right, Connie.
Aye.
Who made that motion, brother? Oh, and Diane, yeah,
Aye.
thank you. I'm
Aye.
in favor. Very good, new business. 12 Darling, color change. Do you have somebody to rep?
I think so. I thought I saw her name.
If there's somebody in Zoom who's representing 12 Darling, oh, and I need to sit off of this because whoever you are, Ms. Green, you are my neighbor. Oh, not Ms. Green, Ms. Hill.
Ms.
Hill. Hi, I'm here,
Where are you?
right here. Hi,
I'm your neighbor.
I
I'm
know.
pointing
Hi,
you
how
out.
are you?
Nice to meet you on Zoom. Now, I can't sit on your application, so Steven's gonna chair it, okay?
So,
Okay.
good afternoon, Shannon. I'm not your neighbor.
Okay.
And, why don't you tell us what you'd like to do?
I just want to change the color. It's all colors that are approved colors. I want to change to the Nantucket gray on the clapboard, and then all white trim, keep all the white trim, change the door to black and the foundation to black, the brick.
No. No.
Okay.
And I
Um,
gave
is-
an example. It's the same as basically the Graydon house.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Anything else you'd like to add at this point?
Nothing.
Okay, thank you. Holly?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So my apologies, I just was snuck up on me. But this is one of the houses within the fish lots that you all, that we, the HDC and the Historic District and NHC received, an updated Form B for. This is a historic Greek revival from the 1830s, I believe. The color of gray for the clapboard is an appropriate, color. However, the black brick is not appropriate, nor is the black door. I understand it's on the Graydon House, however, the Graydon House is a new structure. It's not historic Greek revival. Greek revival would not have that color. So those are my comments, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Are there any abutters? Do we have any comments from the Darling and Pine Area Advisory Group?
I never really particularly liked that clapboard on that house, so I'm happy to see it change. There,
Yeah.
that's mine.
What is it? What is it? That's fine. Do we have anyone else from the public? No, okay, questions? Anyone?
Just,
for
can
that?
I paint, like, can the door be gray? What color should the door be?
Shannon, is that you?
Yeah.
Okay, just want to identify through the chair for the minutes. And your question is, can it be a different color?
But no, like, what color is acceptable? I don't even know.
Well, Holly has left the room. It's momentary, so we'll see what she has to say when she gets back.
Okay.
Do you guys have any questions for?
I mean,
Shannon
could it be
while
the same gray as the house?
I would make it,
Yeah. Well, we'll see what, Shannon has asked, thank you. Shannon has asked if the color could be something other than, if it's not black, what are the options?
Yeah, what, is it
In
gray?
your perspective.
The foundation, I think, should stay the brick.
That's fine.
As it's accurate. No,
Oh, no.
it's brick, natural brick.
Yeah.
And then the doors, I think, should be a lighter color, maybe a lighter gray.
What's the historical range of colors for a Greek revival? I will admit that I haven't brushed up on this in a couple of weeks, so.
Right.
A lighter color. Hold on, I'm trying to find- I do notate that her neighbor did come to the commission as well. His sister, there's another one right next door on Darling, did come at one point, I think it was last year. Yeah, to come in and ask for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so well, how's looking.
Yeah,
that
they
up, I think-
painted theirs green.
Was that you, Shannon?
No, the 14 Darling painted theirs blue, but I don't know what color their door is. And then the people next to me have green windows and green. So I don't know.
So we're gonna have a little bit of discussion amongst the commissioners while Holly's looking up some stuff. Are we have any consensus on black?
I don't
On
think
the
it-
Foundation, I'm a no.
Okay, and on the
On the
door,
door,
no,
I think with the new color is gonna provide a great contrast with all the white trim on this building, and right now it's a lot more subtle than that. I'm okay with the color change. I think it is, I agree with Ray, it's a better color than the putty color now.
On the clapboard.
Yeah, and I would just tend to keep the door the same color to keep a consistent sort of palette.
Okay.
Okay, and
As
then,
it is now, it's the same color as the clapboard, and I think I would want to stick with that, not.
Not this
too
color,
much.
to match
Not
the-
that color, but to match.
To match the
new
gray.
color.
Gotcha.
okay, Val,
I go along with that.
Diane, the discussion at the table is, at least at this point, is have the door match the clapboard, and the clapboard is a new color, that's not the putty, and it is what? Ollie,
It has to be, I think the brick foundation should remain as brick, not
Okay.
painted. I think it would be good if the front door was one color darker than the color gray that you eventually pick for the clapboards, if you're going to go with the gray. It just gives it some perception of being the front door and a slightly darker color. That's what I would go with.
okay, Connie,
Yeah, I'm also not in favor of the black on the bricks or the black door. You know, I'll go with whatever color everyone else thinks is appropriate.
okay, thank you, Connie. So Shannon- Okay, that was pretty trippy. Shannon, so, it sounds like brick is the new black and, on foundations. And on
Okay.
doors, it's gray to match the clapboard. Is that something you want to proceed with, or would you like to, have us hold this?
No,
and you-
that works for me. It's perfect.
Okay, can I get a motion?
Motion to approve Nantucket gray, clapboard and door, and keep the foundation natural brick.
Through staff,
Through step.
on your motion.
Aye.
Val,
Aye.
Diane,
I,
Connie,
I,
and I'm an aye. There you go, Shannon.
All righty. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are we wanting to write on this or no?
yes,
Yeah.
Okay, so, thank you, Stephen.
Okay.
Did you realize there's no mics in there? It just occurred to me just now. No mics.
Well, it's such a small room.
Yeah,
Oh, there's Matt and Andrew. and-
yeah. There we go. So I'm gonna guess that Ben is not here because he had a 3-person board on this 5 North Beach. And that didn't serve him so well the other night, sadly for Ben. So Ben's not there, right?
correct.
Okay. So then we're gonna move along to Act Smart. How about that? Anybody? I can't really read the names.
No, I don't see anyone here for next week.
Okay, so it would seem that. Is
I
he
hear
trying
someone.
to talk?
Who's trying to talk?
I think it's Diane.
Yeah.
It's Diane.
Thank you, Karen.
Okay, so I think that we're gonna move over these 2 old business items for representation, which would bring us now to the new business of 411. First item of which is 39 Monomoy Road.
You are not.
I was not on that, because we have everybody who needs to be. There's that. Yeah, sure.
That's boring.
So, Matt, we have 2 associates here, one on Zoom, one live. I'm gonna go with Carrie on this one. To rotate.
Start whenever you're ready, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, go for it.
So, this is the house that renovation / addition that you've already approved.
Yeah.
Team Sunshine. So we're.
Thank you.
Huh?
Thank you.
Yeah, oh, that's what it said on the text message.
Oh, I thought you were talking about
Oh,
us.
that's nice. So we're just gone through, we're getting into construction documents here and assessing all the windows, and so we're before you today to request to replace the majority of the existing windows. We provided a window survey with photographs of the interior and the exterior. And I'll basically sum it up. The windows that are on the facade here, which is the main body, a majority of them, but not all of them, have a rope balance. The remaining windows that we're proposing to replace have plastic or metal tracks, which would indicate that they're later replacements. Obviously, our preference would be to replace all of them, but that's what we're here before you to discuss. So that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Right. Holly?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So you all remember this is Kindertuck, also named Turn of the Road. It's a colonial revival built by Ethel and Lewis Black in 1924. And this, when the addition slash historic renovation was reviewed and approved, my understanding is that the approval was to retain the facade and the sides existing windows, and that the new addition was new SDLs. Appreciate the window survey with the photos. I didn't see any written component to it to give detail the conditions, which is something that we normally look for. Some of them obviously has the pulley systems. Many seem to be need to be reglazed and repainted. From what I could see, understand that there are many with triple tracks. But due to the age of this dwelling and the likeliness of the windows and the sides are from the 1924s or a little bit later, I would recommend the windows to be looked at by either Brooke and or Hollis on that. But in lieu of the plastic ones, maybe the plastic. Yeah, as the window gurus on Nantucket, but understanding that the plastic ones obviously are more contemporary versus the pulley systems, so. Was my comment.
Okay, Holly, thank you. And do we have Mickey on?
I don't think
This
so.
stuff? No.
I'm here, Ray, but I'm not, we didn't look at this.
I'm sorry, did you say you did not look at it?
Yeah, we didn't review this one. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, but now I know you're there. Okay. All right, board members. Comments?
We're looking.
You notice how I don't get neighbors right to speak. Yeah. So that's the difference in our chairmanship.
There is that.
You give voice to the neighbors, I decided not to.
Yeah.
What are you proposing to replace these with? What manufacturer, what, are they wood, are they SDL on the addition? What about on the, what you're proposing?
We would like them to be consistent, so. that's all.
Can I interrupt procedurally? And this isn't to be Stephen's rules. Guys, please, it's really hard for these guys to take minutes. What they do is they take it off the transcript. So if you get recognized by the chair can say your name and
Yeah,
it will
sorry.
decrease the workload they have by hours.
Yeah. Can I ask that question to you?
Well, so what you said was memorable. I heard it, but could you say it again?
What windows are you wanting to replace these with?
Through you, Mr. Chair, we don't have a manufacturer specified, but we would prefer to use an SDL,
Okay, it would be a wood thing.
not necessarily.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right, Perry, you want to continue?
Well, I would want to see wood on the main mass, if you're replacing, on that main historic piece. I would want to see wood. The windows that I'm looking at that you provided look like a mishmash, and it's hard to tell what's old. It looks like there's a few original, possibly original, or at least older ones, but the rest, I think they do not look original to the house, and I wouldn't mind seeing new windows. But I would definitely want them to be wood.
Preference on the SDL, TDL?
Well, I don't think you can get so close to this house.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
Oh,
So-
were you just
I think you can.
like 50 feet, right?
To the front of it.
Yeah.
The front is
Yeah.
closer, I think, to the road than, I mean, from the bend.
Say maybe a little less than that, but not much, like maybe 40, 30.
Yeah.
Not 10. not
No,
five.
no.
Yeah,
Well, 10 to the addition.
That's the buildings, from the paved edge, from the asphalt. It's from the asphalt to the furthest projecting, one-story shed, it's about 20 feet. So you're probably right, Mr. Chair, it's probably close to 50. You know, that pavement here, that's a 10% setback, 20. It's probably 25 plus, so it's under 50.
all right, Val,
I've got nothing.
okay.
There's nothing here proving that they were original. And I don't think
The
it's
only thing that I would say that does prove that is.
the sash and balance.
Yes,
Or a few
that
of
that
them,
is
but
consistent
not all
with the
of them.
age of that, well, correct, so, all right, But-
I guess with more information, one way or the other, it'd be easier to make that call, but,
okay, well, hang on, answer. Stephen,
Yeah, it'd be easier to make a call with some different.
okay,
So-
Diane, anything to add? It looks like, Diane, it looks like what we're gonna be doing is asking Matt for some more information on the windows, and I would add to that information, some sort of, specification on the manufacturer, you know, I do agree, you know, having Brooker, all this way, and it would be a nice idea. If-
Well, I go with that. I just think that the front of the house, 20 feet back is not much. And it's part of what we are, and it's in the old part of Monomoy, that at least the front of the old house be TDLs, wood TDLs. And
Okay,
then see what else comes up around the thing. Most of the rest of the house is set back, but I do think that it was, Holly said it was built in 1924. I think that sort of says what age the windows should be. Okay,
Right.
that's, and I
Okay.
agree with going to get more information and all that stuff.
very good. Thank you, Diane.
I have one more comment.
Good, Stephen.
And not to be contrarian, but just as a practical matter, I think. You know, Hollis or Brooke, looking at this is fine, but. Everybody's so damn busy that just, if you can document it, so that you know what we're looking
I
for,
agree.
then.
Yeah, if I could, through you, Mr. Chair,
On the manufacturer.
of the new.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it sounds like, you know, identifying through the numbering system to say. Rope balance, we relied on the photographs, but we can be a little bit more clear on that regard. I would say that the ones that do have it, if they have it, all only on the west elevation.
AKA the front, right?
The front, yeah, and not all of those, but we will be more specific about which ones have the rope. And then we'll get a specification on the windows, and I'll take into account the preference for wood.
Great.
And the
Uh,
sizes, I know you have them drawn, but we don't know what the sizes are.
We do have that, we did have that on the original HCC approval, but we will add that to our application.
So a motion hold for that information.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
On Stephen's motion, Val,
Aye.
Carrie,
Aye.
Diane,
She's muted.
Miss Sunshine Crew.
Stephen on your motion.
Aye.
Aye.
Diane, good, and I'm in favor too. Okay, thanks, Matthew.
Thank
Ethan,
you, Sunshine.
New solar.
Hey.
Hey,
No, hey, happy sunshine team from you. I mean, we've got a standard set for Thursdays. I'd like to add through on it.
Wall Street.
no.
no, 25 East
East
Lincoln.
Lincoln, yeah. So when you're ready, 2017 or 18, remember when Brant Point flooded? And
Of course.
yeah, and then flood a couple years. So this house is on the ground.
July 4th.
That's with flood with people. And then anyways, the house is on the ground. It got flooded. I had about 2 feet of water inside of it. I remember walking through it originally before they hired somebody else to not renovate, fix it. And it was what we want to do is pick it up out of the flood, raise it out of the flood zone and move it forward out of the setbacks and put it like within the property, setbacks property. Now, the problem is the house is in all the wetland buffer zone, so it's going through Concom for that stuff as well. And then add a second floor to it, but basically keep within the footprint of the original foundation because of Concom. Is that and we are, oh, there you go. And the chimney in the front is actually separated from the house, is kind of leaning forward into the road.
Yikes.
Fall off. They don't use it, so. And go to, so there it is. So basically, we're trying to keep. I talked with Holly originally about this house and the history of it. And we discussed that this is let's go with this route first. I do have outlined on it the original footprint, the new footprint, and the only thing we're really adding is the side porch there, and it's that. That's it.
How tall is that?
28.
28.
Yes, and I have it marked as it's going up right down bottoms, how high it will look based on the survey. And told me where it's going to go. 3 feet. And it's going to be on piers, like I did on Fayette Street, a little house there where we did with the lattice and the concrete behind it, but we're doing the brick piers to go around it. So it looks like it's built in stilts.
All right, thank you. Holly.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So there's an HTC survey on file. This is a start guide 1951. This is also within our survey area that our consultants are working on to update our filter resource surveys. So Form B will be produced. And per my consultant with PAL, this dwelling was constructed by Austin F. and Elizabeth Schreier as a rental property. On a parcel that extended to North Beach Street and also included the present day 27 and 29 East Lincoln. Austin Schreier was a plumber and involved with the Wannacomet Water Company, and in 1964, he and Elizabeth sold 25 Easton Street to, I can't pronounce her last name, Giorgio Santelli. Giorgio was a celebrated fencing instructor from New Jersey who trained Olympians and summered on Nantucket. Based on the review of the historic aerials, it appears that a second story was added to the west wing of 25 East Lincoln, and a one-story front gabled addition was added to the southwest corner sometime between 1971 and 1985. Presumably, those are the additions that have been that Ethan has referenced. Overall form and massing of the dwelling appear from historic aerials to be intact apart from these additions. This obviously we have to comply with resilient Nantucket, so appreciate it being a lower elevation. With that, we would also request having a historic determination application submitted. This is a low elevation, appreciate that, at 2.7. The scale of this mid-century cottage does change from the additive 1 to 2 stories to a full 2 stories. Although this cottage is accessed off center, it's nice to give a main access. I was just concerned on where that location is. And it is a shame. I understand that there's issues with the chimney, but it is a shame to lose that character defining aspect of that end wall chimney. It is unique to the era of this house construction. Appreciate retaining the 12/12 windows. The 2/2 creating a covered porch, I think changes the character of this cottage. And I just think that it should retain that additive feel of this mid-century cottage and be a little less boxy, understanding you're configured with the overall footprint from Concom's jurisdiction. So those are my comments.
Holly, thank you. Before we move further, I want to establish the board. So in our rotation, this is back to you, Connie. Okay? You're muted, but I see you nodding your head, so that's great. All right, so Mickey, why don't we do the normal? Linda's not in the room, I don't think, but just identify yourself and who you represent, you know.
Yeah. Mickey Rowland, representing the former HSAB work group, which includes myself, Angus McLeod, Jason Finger, Lucy Dillon, and Mary Bergman.
Thank you, Mickey.
So these changes result in a somewhat confusing presentation to the road with two forward-facing gables connected by a lower roof section. The massing could be simplified and conform better to stepped additive masses, and it would be nice to see a front door facing the street. I know it's kind of tucked away in a little alcove at the moment, but maybe there's an opportunity to get the front door facing the street. Thank you.
Okay, Mickey, thank you. Any neighbors? See, no neighbors. Why do I even ask? Who wants to start? Come on, peeps. You wanna pick someone? Val.
I like the idea of the front door facing the street. That would be tremendous. I'm assuming adding the door on the east is what you're considering the front door, because that's kind of where the parking is.
Can you scroll the floor plan? That's existing location.
Right. Oh, I know,
I pointed to it.
but you're doing so much to it, it would seem nice to have a.
It's interesting. So, excuse me for interrupting. It's interior. I mean, it's kind of like in a little, like vestibule.
It's the existing location on the asphalt.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, okay.
Oh. We definitely have to do something about the AC units. I know one is there, but you're adding another one that has to be screened. And, it is, I don't know. Is there any way to perhaps, let's look at the south, have that just trail back as opposed to the gable facing the second one? Do you understand what I'm saying?
No,
So make it eve forward all the way across.
Hmm.
And I know this bumps out a little bit, but could I have a little tiny lower?
I understand.
Yeah, I think that would.
If I understand correctly, and I'm having a hard time reading the text there, but the upper left-hand drawing with the chimney on it,
Yeah,
you're talking about the gable on the left-hand side, running the eave across so that it's more simplified.
correct.
And even though, how much does it project out?
Can you go to the upper left existing?
No, that's no.
That's 4 feet.
Oh, 4 feet.
Yeah, it's more like 6 feet. That's
Oh,
4 feet.
Okay, so just running the eave down wouldn't really
oh, it
do.
looks like it's two.
It's two.
Yeah,
2 feet.
yeah.
Okay, well then 2 feet you could actually do what Val's proposing. Sure. Okay,
That's
is that it, Val?
I think for now,
Okay, I can come back to you if
Okay.
you wish. Stephen, you ready?
No,
No, okay.
thought I understood. that.
Diane, how about you?
Okay, if we could go, get out of the first floor plans and back up there. What are we picking as would be the front door? That's
Well,
not the, east,
that's the question, Diane. Right now, there, sort of is no front door.
right, and the east is not. So, I think most of the houses down on East Lincoln Street are not sort of lined up. I don't know. I would like to being a typical old person there, would like to see the front door on the south elevation, and I would like definitely to see those windows not be 2/2s for the porch. They just don't fit in with the other ones. I don't know, they could be 6/6s like the on the east elevation existing or something. They are too windowy to be porch windows. I don't know how you could make that center entrance on the south elevation, the front door. And what it would do, it looks like it would fit into the first floor area. And it would be good there, so that's what I would like. And also definitely the AC units not hanging on the door side of the east elevation also. So, and I don't know what that little black thing up above, just under the eave, is, whether it's a light or what, but anyway, I'd like to see what they come up with as for the front door there on the south elevation. That's it
Oh.
for now.
Yeah,
Where are you showing?
well, how the roof comes down. Oh, yeah. Diane, thank you. Connie, are you ready?
Yes, I also, I'm in favor of a more clearly defined front entrance, and I missed the fireplace. Is that not being replaced, or it's not as high? Is that what I'm looking at?
It's a different
A
location.
different location, yeah.
And that was because it was leaning or something with the house?
Well, so I'm gonna jump in, Connie. Right now, it's a single story fireplace and it's it's obviously or apparently falling over. So it would need to get rebuilt anyway, simply by virtue of the fact that the building is getting taller. So, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's about all I have.
Okay, Connie, thank you. Stephen?
I think Bell's idea is not a bad one, and with respect to that second floor mass on the south elevation. I just want to clarify, can we go back up? We've said this will be the third time. The upper left corner is the existing.
Right?
No.
No.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'm sorry, I erred.
No, I just was trying, I
Yeah,
was like,
okay.
what the hell am I looking at? Or I would have come in earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go by this chimney quite a bit and, all the times we hear that chimneys like this don't exist in the old historic district. Maybe on a federal street, but they do exist. These and this one and many others. Yeah, I think, it's a large structure. I was concerned about that, given what it's replacing. I think from the south elevation, that's primarily the viewpoint, so bringing that smaller forward gable down is helpful. And then can we zoom in on that lower left elevation? I think the paneling on that porch, it needs to be a more traditional panel versus a vertical board. So you literally have maybe a double set of, well, with an odd number of windows, you'll have to figure it out. If they get too small, they're gonna look funky. But it doesn't look like you're gonna be able to do a panel set for two windows. So it's laid out. But you know what I'm talking about. That's all I got. The front door doesn't bother me so much.
Yeah, and I have something to add to that. I think you can frame it with something, dress it up a little, and it will say, this is the front.
Yeah, can I make one comment through the chair? In the existing house, we're looking at a 2D drawing, a two-dimensional thing, but we approach this house, even today, the front door's off to the inside here. You can clearly see its front door. So with the newer thing, all I'm doing is add a roof above it. It's still the same. You're gonna see this big, you'll know it's a front door. And it's gonna be,
Can I make one? Can we zoom back in on the lower left? I just, for the record, I want to appreciate the delineation of the pier and curtain of the porch on the left versus the pier and the curtain on the right. with respect to, the sense of structure. It makes sense. The house is a larger, more solid structure. The covered porch, Reed's is a covered porch. We've seen a couple of these come in where that brick pier extends over on the left as it is on the right. And this hierarchy just, I think it's a well thought out and successful approach. He followed the guidelines. We spent a lot of time on this guideline.
What was so odd? I think that may have been just a coincidence. Well, listen, I think, thank you, Stephen, and I think that, Val, did you say you had one more thing or?
Yeah, I said it,
Okay.
it was to just do something to frame in.
Right. I think that all the comments that I would have made have already been made, so, everything that has been said by the board and by Nikki are appropriate. Shall we,
Hold for revisions.
Could you also make a further motion on that,
Mm-hmm.
for the revisions to include the elevation certificate information,
Yeah, our FEMA package
Yes, our-
for our best practice
as well as a submittal of the historic determination COA?
and that.
You haven't done that yet, right?
What's that?
The COA for the historic determination.
No idea. I'll figure it out.
Separate application for a request for a historic determination. None of these mix and matches and trying to make the
Yeah.
trim green.
Oh, that's white, yeah. Sure.
That basically, the historic determination gives you you don't have to go to the full FEMA height,
Yes.
is what that does.
And by the way, we can also request that you not.
Correct. No, it's
Keep that in
very
mind,
true.
folks.
But the place does flood.
Yeah, no, I'm not
Yeah.
suggesting.
Yes.
okay, so was that your motion, Jim?
Somewhere in there, what it
Yeah,
was.
somewhere buried in there it was. Okay, so on Stephen's motion, Diane,
Aye,
Connie,
I,
thank you, Val.
I,
Very good, Stephen, on your motion.
Aye.
And I- Thank you. Okay, thanks. Stephen. Look, all right. Okay, so do we have Act Smart yet?
no,
No, huh? All right, okay. There we are. Gotta remind you, who is Act Smart? I always get those guys.
They're down your back.
Tobias.
Act Smart is Tobias?
Mhm.
Okay, just curious. Okay, so here we are at under. Andrew.
Hello, everybody.
Andrew. Nice to see you.
Okay, so Andrew, for your benefit and for the record, Harry will be sitting on this one. Okay.
Great.
All of these, all of
Fine.
your applications here.
Can you pull up that supplemental?
The newest.
Sure. So a couple things just to correct. This is not just to be a straight demo. It should have been a demo move. I don't know, just for labeling purposes on the agenda. Was show somebody's first comment. Sure. We had that. I'll sort of just walk over. I've put together a supplemental package here that I'm sorry I didn't email in time. Just has more images and more context of the neighborhood to use as a guide. The existing house on the property was built, I believe in 1996. It's not that old, nothing.
96.
96.
Okay.
Yeah. The existing ridge height on the house is over 30 feet.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of them in this neighborhood are actually over 30 feet. So I sort of documented kind of random distribution of houses to capture a few things. One, there's a real mix of two-story houses in the neighborhood. There's a mix of gambrel houses in the neighborhood. There's a mix of 1.5-story homes in the neighborhood. Gable forward houses, gambrel forward houses, eve forward house. It's really a
Hey,
strong
Andrew.
mix.
Yeah, just so that you don't necessarily go, you're not in front of your skis on this one.
Yeah.
What we're reviewing first, if I'm not mistaken, is a demo move off of the main house that was built in 1996.
Right, I'm just trying to give you the broader context.
Yeah. So, but I think,
Right,
you
so
know-
we'll leave it at that.
all right, so demo move off of house that is, by the way, over 30 feet, so if it moves somewhere, it's gonna be in violation.
Right, so there's the house,
Yeah,
there's a small little cottage in the back, and there's a shed.
right,
I'm proposing demo move all of them.
gotcha, okay. So why don't we just, we're gonna cut right to the chase on this one, and Holly.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I concur. This is a circa 1996 non-contributing infill. I'm glad to hear that it's also for a move, not just a demo, so. And although this is a non-contributing dwelling, I would obviously would hate to see it demolished, would want to see it moved. And I'm kind of pulling this whole concept away from the HTC's head and saying from a sustainability perspective. I think
I've
you all,
got someone for the cottage already. I'm working hard to get rid of all of
good,
them, so.
awesome, and that was gonna be my recommendation, that it would be a move, not necessarily a demo, obviously. And I'm glad to hear that, and I would highly recommend, quite frankly, having it just as a move, not as a move demo, but that's just my preference, so,
Okay,
anyway.
thank you. Rob, I saw you up in the queue. Do you have anything that you want to say on this application?
Not this particular one, thank you.
All right, fair enough. Let me just, do you have anything to say on any of the move off demos that he has on the list?
No, nothing for the move off or demo, no.
All right, we'll get back to you then, Rob, okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, board members, on the move off demo of this 1996 house.
Wow, no concerns, put it to good use.
I find it's always a bummer when a relatively young house is not looked at to fully renovate or rip off the roof and do something different, because that's a substantial chunk of house. That's just a shame that we've done it before. And it's not historical, so.
Maybe people can scavenge stuff too, if nothing else.
Well, they can always do that. That's sort of beyond our purview.
I know it is, but we,
And
Typically do that all the time anyway, believe it or
you know, the
not.
funny thing is, I've heard that there are some like rather substantial liability issues with that
Yeah.
stuff.
but
You
you
know,
know what, I'm sick of that.
somebody's like taking a cabinet out and they step on a
But
nail.
it's real, Val.
I know it's real, but then it just doesn't make sense.
I know it doesn't make sense, but
The
also,
court laws in the
Yeah.
United States don't make sense. That's a much larger discussion.
We get one person talking.
Order in the court, dang,
you started it.
Okay, I know, I did start it. Okay, so Carrie, just to tie a bow around it, you're okay, reluctantly okay with the demo move off.
Yeah, I would prefer when a house like this comes up that we have some indication that it's been an effort to work on existing gut, whatever needs to be done. Because in this case, it's not about the age of the building, it's about the substance of the building, and it's just depressing.
And to your point, Mr. Chair, it's okay, that's kind of where I've said it would be nice to have some sort of a town, response from a sustainability perspective outside of the HTC. And putting, instead of keeping it on the HTC's head, since you
Yeah.
have purview over everything, it doesn't meet the 50-year criteria, it's not contributing, what do you do? And maybe have a separate bylaw for.
I wouldn't want that to be my house that I bought and someone's telling me I can't change.
I think you have to understand that a lot of houses built during certain periods of time, the foundations leak. There's mold, houses are not well built, they're not well insulated, and ultimately, for a end user, as many in this room can attest to, the renovation costs exactly the same price as a new house. So
Exceeds it.
exceeds it, you have to undo it to redo it, so.
Except for the bump fees, which are a lot.
All right. Thank you, everyone. So now let's Diane, your view.
My view is if they're going to consider taking this down, they should notify housing authority and have housing authority sign off on it that they can't use it.
Okay,
It's-
well, it will also be publicly noticed in the paper, because it's a dwelling, it has to do this 60-day, that whole thing too. So that's built into the cake on this.
I understand that, but putting this in housing authority who says we need to build all these buildings, then they should, whether it costs exactly the same to move it or build it, it's going to take a shorter time to put people in it. And we hear for hours on end how we have to do this, give
Yeah,
up land to do it and everything else, and yet this comes up and the question is, sure, demo it. I think we have to take a step forward and just get a paper from housing that says they can't use it, then,
I'm sure that Andrew would be okay procuring that piece of paper.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just talk-
We do it all the time
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
kind of standard operating. procedure.
Yeah. I would just make a sidebar that I think the board, we all know where Nantucket's headed. There's nothing left. So a lot of this is gonna be more and more common. So there should probably be some sort of system that maybe is more rigorous in the future about how this process goes. I'm just saying, because
That's
this is the
Holly, and
future.
that's
We all-
taking it off the
Yeah,
HTC, who are
right.
supposed to be regulating the historic stuff, as opposed to the
It
non-historic.
would be nice if the demo process could take it apart in a way that people could take stuff from, and, you know, the property that's already been taken off by the demo crew.
All
So
right.
it's not unsafe. We're getting into too much.
Okay, Barry, thank you. Yeah, these philosophical issues that weigh heavy on all of our minds. Stephen,
Yes, weighing heavy on my mind is the fact that I disagree with all of you in a little bit.
but you can,
It's okay.
because you don't know.
You
what
can.
view yet.
Yeah.
You do know my view.
Well, I don't, yeah,
Go ahead.
it's not our purview to be requesting letters from other people. It's not our, we've got a mandate and it has to do with all the structures on Nantucket. And I do think if we set a policy on how we want to handle demo moves off, that's a different matter. But with respect to this structure, it's sad to see it go if it can't be reused. But our mission isn't saving 1980, 1990, year 2000 homes. I'm not suggesting the landfill is a good place for these, believe me. I'm not suggesting it makes sense, but we have a more narrow purview. So I would motion to approve, subject to the standard demo town's zoning bylaw, and that's it.
Okay, there we go. I don't really disagree with that motion. I would vote in favor.
Thank you.
Okay, so on Stephen's motion, Val,
I guess I.
Carrie,
Unfortunately,
There we
Mr.
go,
Sensible
Diane.
Well,
No.
Okay, so everybody has a little asterisk next to it. Stephen, on your motion.
Oh, I guess I'll go along with that guy. Yes.
Okay, and my response is, I think it's heinous what you're doing, but I. Okay, so that motion carries, I think I all, oh no, actually the motion carried 4 in favor, 1 opposed. All right, so that's that. Now we have some really good news from Andrew on the guest house. Andrew, go.
I believe I have a taker for the guest house, but I would still want the demo move approval, please.
All right. Okay, folks, same board.
I have another person.
Same era.
That was
Yeah,
mine
I think
was
it'd be
through staff, by the way.
Pretty easy.
I think he said it's supposed to be a demo move.
Right, it's all changed to demo moves,
Okay.
well, the shed demo.
Yeah.
So yes, we'll need it. Thank you.
Okay, so Carrie, I'm sorry, you were saying something.
She believes that she wants it.
That I have somebody who might be interested in it.
Okay,
I don't know.
are you okay with the move demo?
I'd suggest you recuse if you think that's the case.
What?
If you might have somebody that's interested in it.
It's just a friend. It's not a client or anything.
Okay.
They Just mentioned it.
suggestion.
Yeah, I don't think I need to go through.
Or are you demo?
Yeah,
You're okay. Val,
yeah.
Diane,
yes,
you're good.
yeah, I'm good because we got somebody who may want it, which is better than just demoing it. I don't know.
Yeah.
We have to discuss at a time of different, what we could do to protect these houses.
Okay. Thank you, Diane, Stephen. You're gonna say,
Yes.
Stephen's in. Okay, so can I have a motion?
Motion to approve through staff as a move demo.
Okay, very good. On that motion, Val,
I.
Carrie,
I,
Diane,
Aye,
thank you, Stephen.
Aye.
Okay.
I just want to clarify, if the application says move demo, then it's obviously you don't need to submit anything else, but it says demo.
Right.
Understand.
And now we are to demo, move off of the shed,
I'm gonna say demo on that, so.
just straight up demo. No move off.
I mean, you do both either way.
How old is it? I'm curious.
It's not
Yeah.
coming up.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Okay. So
Yeah,
there it is.
it looks to be the same vintage, yeah.
Yeah.
Movable.
So demo move, sure.
Oh, demo move.
Sure, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so-
fine, yeah,
all right,
sure, yeah.
okay, same deal, guys, we all in?
There's no concerns.
All right, so can I have a motion?
Through staff.
Yeah, the motion is to approve move demo on this shed through staff. On that motion, Val, Harry, Diane,
Aye.
and Stephen,
Aye.
and I'm in favor. You know, Nancy there over at, Rutgers Island.
Yeah.
She loves that kind of stuff. Okay, now we're gonna get to the new main house.
Okay. So if we could go as much as that, just to would you get the overlay, it's probably pretty helpful. Oh,
And then just check the new box.
yeah. Here, this. So I've tried to do a few diagrams just to clearly illustrate what it is that we're proposing to do. As I articulated before, sort of spot documented a lot of the houses around, not for any particular reason, other than to show the varied aesthetic that exists in this neighborhood. I don't think it's fair to say this is like other parts of Sconset where there is a more curated approach to the architecture. Here, it's very disparate. There are older houses with infill houses mixed in, all gambrel gable, 1.5 story, 2 story, gable forward, E forward, as I said before. From a planning point of view, the approach to this site is the house right now sort of sits in the middle, splitting it apart, creating the main house over off to the right with a studio garage and shed in the back. Ultimately, there will be a pool, not here today though, for the landscape applications. The structure is 29 feet high. It is to be Quaker gray with black sash and black doors. The chimney is to be red brick. The overall ridge length is about 40 feet, just over 40 feet. Some of the diagrams I pulled together show how many of the other ridges in the neighborhood are significantly longer. Many of the gambrel houses and the other of the sort of gable homes there. So there's the scale of this feels very in keeping with the neighborhood. In fact, I think you could argue it's slightly smaller than that. I tried to stick with a full 1.5 story house, keeping the eave line down. I think a sort of 4 dormer front is pretty common in Sconset. There's many examples of it peppered in throughout the neighborhood. The trim is sort of a little bit of an ornate overhang of rake and fascia board, no gutters. And it is 2/2 windows. I'll kind of leave it there. All the second floor decks are embedded in the roofs, but it's I think a pretty simple structure in the end.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is obviously an infill with an infill subdivision right outside the OHD boundary line. I think it goes right down Mooring Lane. In the next lot over is actually included in it. So thank you for the supplemental info, because that was my comment, that we need a better understanding of the context of the existing in the neighborhood. Because the photos that were included didn't even include that adjacent Plymouth revival right there at 2 Underhill, which was a 1923 Gambro.
Yeah.
My question is the new dwelling proposed within the same footprint. You can address that with your supplemental. Thank you. Because I think that it's like it wasn't included on the site plan. So
It's all.
that's perfect. I believe the design is nice. I do believe that it's better suited a little more in the country, not within the urban context, but understand that it is a mixed bag in this area. But it is adjacent to some historic structures contributing towards the local natural district. I think it's a little modern, a little bit more modern than it should be. One specific aspect is the that exterior chimney. It is atypical, and what did I put on here? Oh, and it would be more traditional to obviously have it in the main block. But one of my things was wanting to see a streetscape, understanding from what you said in the beginning, that the existing structure is higher. taller than the other ones, where you're proposing a lower.
Go the other
I
way.
didn't know if you had that.
I did, yes, yeah.
Thank you,
Okay.
see, you read my mind.
Here's the existing structure, here's the new, here's the sort of all the adjacent structures next to it going down.
That's helpful. There are some specific aspects on the main dwelling that I think are gonna be possibly visible, but maybe with the location of the guest house, it won't be seen. Some of the features on that you might be able to see from Maury Lane. So yeah, just a little,
Maybe 6/1 house.
yeah,
But
give a little more traditional characteristics. Other than that, I think it's a good concept. So those are my comments. Mr. Chair.
Holly, thank you.
Mhm.
Hey, Rob.
Hello there. Thank you.
Hey, maybe you noticed this with what we just did with Mickey.
Yes,
Could-
I'm all set to do that.
So, Rob, what's that?
He says all that.
He's on it.
I'm sorry, what did you just say?
I'm sorry.
I asked to get the comments.
I'm
from
all
that
set to read you who our members are.
Yeah, okay, so you're gonna tell us who you represent, Rob, and then you're gonna give us your comments, okay?
Terrific. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
For the record, my name is Rob Benchley, and I'm a member of the former Sconset Advisory Board. The rest of our members include Mary Lathrop Will, Angus McLeod, Clement Durkis, Carolyn Ellis, and recently Ann Troutman. And so thank you very much. And
Very good, thank you.
just briefly, I think, and maybe that's been fixed, but the cardinal compass points don't match. I mean, on the elevations, I think they're off, but nevertheless. Okay, so just a few comments. The highest walls facing the street are of the garage in the addition to the main house, detracting from the main mass of the house in front entry. The gable forward garage and main house addition seem to be too tall and should be sited behind the house. And the overview, what was noted as the whitewash cover sheet rendering, the balconies, French doors, and pools are inappropriately visible from Underhill Lane. And those are the comments. But I would like to say that aerial view with the ghosting of the new house is absolutely fabulous. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, and Rob, just to be clear, some of the comments that you just made relate to the other applications that we have before. It's not necessarily the house.
That is true. Okay,
I mean, your comments were sort of general because they do mention the pool and things like that, right?
Well,
Yes,
the
yes.
garage, but I agree with him. It is one design and it's really kind of.
Yeah, okay. All right, Rob, thank you. Right, who wants to start?
I'll go.
Hey, Karen.
I appreciate the simplicity of the main mass. It's a little, it's like very simple, but then the dormers all take your attention. And I'm not, it does read as modern, so I think black is not the answer to the windows. Especially in this neighborhood, it might be an eclectic mix of buildings, but it is traditional. And I would prefer to see it. You know,
Right.
something, yeah. And I know we're not on the garage yet, but since you presented that nice perspective drawing. I do think. The play on those two gables it does take away from the main house, and I'd want to see that other building pushed away from it. Other than that, I think it's, a nice, simple design.
Okay, thank you. Diane, you ready?
These two shacks. Yeah.
Let's just, Val, you ready?
Here I am. Here I am.
Okay, hang on. Go ahead, Diane.
I think if the west elevation is the front of the house facing Underhill, I think that the 4 shed dormers over the front are too heavy. It should be, I think, down to 2 and not overpower. It makes the house come down hard. They're too busy and too many, I think. The garage should be reviewed again when it comes up, something we can do with it. I don't mind the east elevation. I think that it, even with all the mold windows, it fits into the space. I think it keeps that right-hand side not looking like a rocket to have the 3 windows on the bottom. And I just wonder whether the doors on the left-hand side, which should have kick panels or not. I don't know whether they're those folding up doors or not. Other than that, for this, these are the only 2 elevations I have on the
You can-
east elevation.
The others.
There's the others. Again, like, I don't know, the shed dormers on the north elevation, are just heavy when you get as big as they are and whatever. I think it would do better to have 2 up there than 3. You've got a whole bank of windows underneath to space them out. I think that the use of the mold windows on the south elevation is too much. It's a modern house, but it's fitting into a multi-age neighborhood. Everything that you see catch your eye is mold, and I would like to see them separated or reduced in number. So that's it for now.
Okay. Diane, thank you. Val?
I don't have anything to add. The color was my primary concern. And the walk down, if you can see that, but is there anything that's gonna screen that?
It'll be fully screened with I'll come back with it, but it's full hedged, you won't see any of it.
But no railing or
No,
anything?
there'll be railing.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay, Stephen?
Yeah, I'm with Val for the most part, a couple more specific, primarily color on this and 6/1s. And on the west elevation, I think the relative size of the secondary mass, second floor gable versus the first floor needs to be addressed, the height. It's atypical to have a larger window above on the second floor than the smaller ones. No suggestions on that, but I will say, I think far and above any other comments, the shadow rendering is just not helping the case here. It's really drawing the eye to those 4 kind of, can we zoom in a little bit? Yeah,
Just 'cause the shade.
it draws your eye to those dormers in a way I don't think is ever gonna happen in real life.
Yeah, there's just a
Like-
lot of houses like this on the island.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
just with respect to the shadow rendering.
Right, just throws.
And then it diminishes the visual value of the first floor structure because it is shaded and you can't really see it. If anything happens there, and I don't feel strongly about it, I would just say make the porch wider and put some tips on the ends. I don't think it's necessary. On the south elevation, certainly vocabulary in that area for wider structural molds on the second floor windows. And I don't have a concern about that. I'm more concerned about if you're gonna use that lattice, go big, because again, you've got these larger windows over the smaller windows. And I think in a field of lattice on the first floor, that actually will read more appropriately because it changes the presentation. it creates kind of a larger mass below the windows that's more fitting in terms of elements, the weight of the relative elements. Still 6/1, and those are really, the other thing I think that makes this appear so much more contemporary is the chimney. It gets in your mind and it's subtle, but it sticks. And I think a more traditional chimney, to the extent that the chimney is visible from, I don't think it's visible from Underhill, correct?
Barely.
Yeah, so that would be.
The top.
Yeah, the prime, if it's visible from, it's all gonna be visible in a way that you get the first presentation of the structure. I wouldn't want it to have an identity tied to that chimney. That's it.
Okay. I'm on board with all the comments, particularly with regard to the chimney. Every time I see those chimneys.
I know, Rick.
You know the Cliff Road?
You say it every time I'm here. You say it every time I'm here.
And there's my chimney, like right there. The point, like the prow of a ship. Anyway, so that's my big thing. And it's interesting. The four dormers, are appropriate, but yeah, Stephen's point is well taken. They look so stark with the, shadow, the sort of serrated knife look. Okay, so what do we do?
Motion for approval.
Well, I mean, I don't know that, I think we could do this through staff, but we would need an exhibit A if we did it. It's not something somebody should.
Well, 6/1's the window color.
Right,
And
6/1
the
chimney.
chimney.
I think if we write more than 3 things on that list, it's difficult.
Gets bollocked.
Yeah, it gets bollock stuff. It's probably easier for.
Because the window's smaller, I actually agreed with Diane on those mold windows in the second floor, I pulled them, so I'll come back.
Oh, lattice.
So minor
Yeah,
revisions.
that's fine.
I mean, we can do it for an exhibit A, but it's just, because if staff doesn't have a drawing to look at when they go in the field,
Yeah, that's
it's
fine.
way more
If
difficult.
he's
Just maybe you
happy
put it on
with
consent when I send it back, you look at it.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that.
Do we actually do that?
No.
You should though,
Yeah.
a lot
I
of
mean,
other
it's
boards do, by
probably,
the way.
you know, I mean, that's
Yes.
probably not a bad.
Put in enough time.
Yeah, well, so why don't we do this?
No, I didn't mean it that way, but I'm just saying it saves the meeting time now.
Why don't we do this? Motion to approve through staff, subject to the revisions discussed. And I think we should just do an exhibit A.
But there's only a few things, as far as I recall, 'cause the other night I was writing a book for the.
Yeah, yeah.
residential staff.
There's 2 sets of windows that need to be addressed, the second floor size versus the first floor in different ways. And then there's a separation of the windows, and then what was the other thing?
The lattice.
The color.
And the lattice.
And the color.
Color. So I think if
In the
we,
chimney.
if we just do an exhibit A, then. I mean, we've always done exhibit A's. Is there?
There's no
Hey,
problem with that.
let's do it. Let's do it.
As long as, I think the COA just said C exhibit A or per exhibit A.
Yeah, and then that way the motion can just be per exhibit A, and then staff, when they get it, they know it's already been integrated in the drawing, and they just go and look at a drawing.
So we would do that.
So who wants to do that
Yeah.
exhibit? You seem to have a big handle on
Even
it.
has volunteered to do the exhibit A, thank God. All right,
Moving on.
and is the motion to approve as per exhibit A?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which we all agree.
Great staff, yeah.
I would
Through
like,
staff. Go ahead,
I
Diane.
would like to say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's dumb to have it done by staff and not to get to look at it again. It's an.
Point of order, Mr. Chair, disparaging
Yeah,
against
we wouldn't-
other membership without citing the names is inappropriate. Citing the names is even more inappropriate.
What?
Well, listen,
We're out of order, Diane.
we've decided that it was be okay to do this on an exhibit A.
Okay,
because the-
fine, I just thought I would say what I thought.
Okay, thank you. All right, well, we will take this to a vote because we're already doing an exhibit A. So was that your motion, Stephen?
Without that being dumb part, yeah.
Well, that's not in there. Okay, so on Stephen's motion, Val,
Aye.
thank you, Carrie.
I,
Very good. Diane?
No,
Okay, Stephen on your motion?
All right.
And I'm in favor. So the motion carries 4 in favor, 1 opposed. let's see what you got with this new garage, friend.
I'm trying to download.
Well, so the intent with the garage was that I was mirroring the mass on the house to create a symmetrical balanced condition. There will be full planting to shield anything from the rear yard. But the idea was to really have these two bookended components that I think is really pretty, the rendering shows it the best, actually. If you go to the cover, even there, sorry, right here. If you zoom in on that. That shows it the best.
Yeah.
You're getting some groans.
I get a lot of groans. I already heard them over here. I heard it before.
Okay.
I heard it.
Andrew, thank you. So.
I have nothing else to add, but it will go to 6/1 windows.
Well, yes, we'll start there. Holly.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the garage is like a rocket ship with lots of shingle space between the garage doors and the second floor window. Eave should drop. Also, the window in the eave seems very large, along with the fenestration on the south and the east. I don't think it meets the percentage within building when Nantucket in mind, so look at that. The exterior spiral stairs are nice, but they're atypical and will probably be visible from Moray Lane. Appreciate the windows in the north dormer being placed appropriately. What is the distance of the second floor deck off of the wall? 8 foot is max. As John McLaughlin would. Those are my comments.
Yeah, that was a John McLaughlin original. He was the one that coined the phrase rocket ship effect.
That I've heard too many times, and there are way more rocket ships on the side than I've done.
Okay, hey, Rob. If you're still there.
Yeah, I am.
Could you reiterate your comment on apropos of the garage?
Yeah, the gable forward garage and main house addition are too tall and should be sited behind the house.
Very good. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Okay, now it's to the board. Go ahead, folks.
I agree with that location problem and the height ratio on that front elevation. I think this neighborhood doesn't really have a lot of buildings that go, you know, across the whole front. It looks like all the secondary or most of the secondary dwellings are pushed behind, garages are pushed behind, and that would help a lot.
Okay.
I don't
Thank
have a
you.
problem with the stair as long as it's natural to weather. I think it's gonna be beautiful.
It would be, yeah.
It would be natural to weather.
Yeah,
You would.
it would be clad in cedar, made out of stainless steel.
Oh,
Okay,
Looks like a beautiful stair.
Val.
I was trying to bring it back to the 3D picture, because this is just not loading here in front of us.
That.
Yeah.
Can I say something about?
Uh-huh.
I would say, like, ultimately, if the board is not going to approve this matching that gable, I would probably redesign the whole building. Because the full intent and which the whole intent was that it sort of bookends and you come through this threshold of symmetry. The second that changes, it doesn't really work anymore.
Yeah, and I'm not,
So
it's the deck facing the deck and it's just too unusual. If that building was all the way in the back and it wasn't right across from there, I think it could probably be fine, but on the same, it's on the same
plain, yeah.
plane,
matches
yeah,
perfectly.
yeah, so. No.
Okay. Okay. All right, Val. Diane.
I agree with what Val just said. I think the garage should move to the back and not be right up in front. I think I'm not sure about the spiral staircase. I guess if they're going to be built and they can be seen from Underhill, they should be made of wood, not steel. The So that's. I'd like to see it repositioned to behind. And I don't know how tall it is because I can't see. Does anybody have any measurements about how tall it is?
It's gotta be dimension.
I think it's on here.
2210.
Yeah, it's not tall at all.
23 feet.
Yeah, 23 feet.
Okay, that is fine on that south elevation. The dormer is so much larger, it could come in and make it not so overhanging. The porches could come in on somewhat also. It doesn't look like a garage, which is, I guess, from the second floor is okay. I'm not sure how much you would see of the first floor, actually. But it needs, particularly the west elevation, it does tend to look like a rocket somewhat. So if it could come down or made a foot wider, it would look better than the shape of it right now. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Stephen.
Yeah, so we talked about the height on the west elevation, I think primarily is where it shows up. And on the north elevation, to some extent, without like some little type of hat roof over the door. On the spiral staircase, I don't disagree, but if it's gonna have a staircase, I think that to the extent that this can be made to not be visible from Underhill through landscaping would be beneficial, because a large set of stairs that would otherwise be required is just gonna swallow this thing up.
We were gonna like maybe edge around the whole thing, like.
Yeah, use some
shape it
European
down,
or something that's a little
That's
taller.
exactly what you're gonna talk, like, comes right around.
Mhm. That's a,
Okay,
oh, and 6/1 and the same color thing.
Oh, right.
right, 6/1, same color. Yeah, so two things remain, rocket ship and clad spiral stair. That's a tough one. You can get a metal stair and you clad it in wood, but A, I don't know how you're gonna do it. B, it's gonna be very expensive. C, it's gonna be like really fat. If you take, no?
Stringers like that, it's open tread, you wrap the.
Yeah,
The balusters?
The balusters would be one by one. Put a stainless rod in it, slide it over.
that it actually
It's
looks,
actually, it can be done right.
Okay, all right.
I'm not.
So then I only have
suggesting-
one comment, rocket ship. That's it.
So what can we do about the height? Is it something we can address here at the table, just so we don't have to pick this up and handle it again, because everybody knows when you have to pick it up twice, it takes twice as long.
Well, we have to see where it sits on the property. We can't just say. height.
Yeah, the
If
city-
you're not, if nobody's like I said, if you're not willing to approve it in the plane of the front of the building, I'm gonna look at how far I can slide it back 20 feet, something like that, which means that other deck on the side goes away and it all just changes a little bit.
So motion to hold for a minor revision.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, thank you, Stephen. On that motion, Val, Carrie, Diane,
Hi.
very good. Stephen, aye. All right, now let's go to the shed, and then that will conclude our spectacle for the day. Where did that come from?
It's what my consultant sent them.
Oh,
cover.
okay. I don't have any comments on the shed, and this cash go to gray.
What?
Cash go to gray instead of black,
Here we are.
nothing else.
Slightly.
Comment is the windows need to be a little bit bigger.
Somehow 6 light.
Hey, hang on.
Sorry.
So you have one comment.
Yeah, so the windows are too small, and for it to be consistent with the shed guidelines, matching the house.
Oh,
Fenestration wise, trim, all that kind of stuff.
okay.
Can you make those like a 3/3, just a little wider?
No, I really like the 4 lights.
Or like, but they don't go with the 6/1.
They don't.
I'll make them 6 lights.
See, you want to go back and change the six
That
light,
comment on
yeah.
the 6 lights,
6 light, like a hopper.
6 light holly,
Horizontally formatted.
horizontally,
Yeah.
always. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I mean, you know, I think these are better, but.
But I'm
Now they
happy.
are inconsistent with the house.
Right, because if I go to 6/1, so it's all 6 lights done.
It's like,
Yeah, and
Wait a second,
I,
Andrew, who's calling the shot? That was him. Hold on, I want to make sure that everybody's copacetic with that.
I don't think sheds need big windows, then it uses up space
Yeah.
they need inside.
But
Okay,
where it's vertical now, as a 4 light.
Right, but if we're going to
You
6
have a
over 1
6
windows, I'm
light.
fine going to 6 light
Right, 6
windows.
light would be the
Yeah.
similar size, just a
Correct.
different orientation.
okay, so Carrie, it sounds like you're okay with the 6
Yeah.
light.
Absolutely.
Diane, what's your view?
I don't mind the shed windows because that's usually what they got. But I would like to see them a little bigger because they're, doesn't have to be a house window size, just the next size. This would be better, just a little bit bigger, that's all.
Okay, so it sounds like maybe you're in favor of the 6 light version, which would be somewhat wider.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you, Diane. Stephen?
will you go so I can make a motion?
I'm fine with 6.
6 light, Quaker gray. Bruce down.
Here we are. That's it. Okay, on Stephen's motion, Val. Very good. Carrie, thank you, Diane. Very good. Stephen, on your motion? Aye. And I'm.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Andrew, look at that. Just knocked it all off for you. pretty much.
you. I think he likes Thursday meetings. That's what I'm.
Well, Thursday meetings do tend to be a little bit more relaxed and frankly, it seems like it's more stuff, honestly. Is this the show? Yes.
Yeah.
So.
Gray. Nice.
Bye, everybody.
So, would you entertain a John McLaughlin motion to adjourn?
Okay, so Stephen's made a motion to adjourn. Let's go Val and Connie, since we haven't heard from you, if you're still there, you are.
Wiring inspector and.
Hi.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse
Diane?
me? Sorry, I'm new to this. I'm going to interrupt really quickly because I've been on here and I sent a message asking if we'd be able to loop back to one of the first agenda items. I had been sitting.
If I may, Mr. Chairman,
Yeah, sure.
it was approved through consent, so you're all set.
Bing, bing.
You can
See,
reach out to
you
me
didn't
and I
even
can
have to
explain to
wait.
you.
Is it Louise?
Perfect.
Yes.
I can't see
Louisa,
that
yes,
on.
yes,
Okay.
Louisa.
So Louise, what that means is that we approved it in the hopper at the beginning of the meeting, so that's all set. And then you can just reach out to staff to coordinate when it will be available to pick up. Which is approximately what,
So what is it?
2 weeks.
couple weeks.
Thank you so much.
Very nice. The other one would be, sorry guys to interrupt as well. We had another one that we submitted. Which I didn't see if anybody went through that one for Richard Evans as well.
Who are you?
No.
No, they weren't on. They were on a draft version that we saw, but it wasn't on this version of the agenda.
So we really have already convened, so not to put you off, but on that one, follow up with Esmeralda. And she can direct you as to where it is in the process, whether it was approved on consent.
What
Prior
is
to
it?
today, I don't know, as opposed to getting a discussion with people, because we're adjourned. If you follow up with Esme, she can give you direction on it, whether it was already approved. And if not, what the disposition is, okay?
Okay,
Yep,
thank
sounds
you.
good. Sounds
I'll be
good.
calling you, Esmeralda. Bye.
All right, so let's see, Connie has voted to adjourn. We're halfway adjourned.
Oh, I thought we wanted to.
Well,
Sorry, my apologies.
so you moved, said Val,
And I said,
okay, and then Stephen on your motion.
All right,
Oh, and Diane.
yeah,
Are we
aye,
adjourned, Diane?
aye, aye.
All right, and I'm in favor. So there we go. Thanks, everybody.
When is